Hey guys, welcome back again to Rebuild Reality. It is nice to be back here with you guys again. So, today we are going to be talking about your innate ability to decide something and have it become true. That's simple. And I want to start off by just having you guys remember that manifestation isn't hard. Creating a new reality for yourself is a part of you. It's a part of what you can do. It's just your innate ability to be able to literally change your reality. And you're doing it all the time. You just don't really realize that. You don't realize the extent of your ability, right? So right now, your reality, your personal reality, is all happening based on decisions you made before. A decision of how you decided to see yourself. What you decided was true for you. And for most people, and I know a lot of people have been in this manifestation thing for a while, trying to figure it out and doing techniques and doing processes and stuff. And a lot of times, for most people, things don't happen, or they even get worse. Now, why is that? That's because people keep seeing themselves really, truly as the same person. As the same person who is trying to change things, who has heard about this manifestation stuff and is doing these techniques and these processes, affirmations, they're listening to subconscious, programming, subliminals and all of this stuff in order to try to get things to change. And yeah, you can do that. It's possible, but it's pretty hit and miss. It's pretty hit and miss. And what we really want is to know who we are. Like, really understand this. So once you get that, there's not any problems anymore. Stuff's still gonna happen. Life's still gonna be life. But you know that you can always go in and change it. And wow, to know that, now we're talking, right? So you can literally decide who it is that you want to be and have it. Absolutely, full stop. That is the power within you. That is the power that spiritual texts and all these things have been talking about. That you can choose anything, you can decide what's going to be true for you and have it become true. If you don't go back. You don't go back to the previous personality, the previous incarnation, you can even call it, of who you saw yourself as. You can't still be the person who is there trying to make things happen, trying to do all these processes and techniques. You're still identifying as that person who is trying to change their life. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is more of what I've spoken about before, on people who have multiple personalities. They are literally like, that is not me. That's not me anymore. Of course, it was them, but they're like, that's not me now. That is not me now. And that's the kind of level of thing that we have to do here. So when you want to change your reality, and let's say, for example, you want the ideal relationship with your SP, maybe, you guys aren't together anymore, maybe you're not talking, maybe they've blocked you, maybe you haven't spoken to them or seen them in months, maybe even years, it doesn't matter. That happened to that person. That was that person, the former you. That was their experience. That was their reality. And you know what? You can't change that story. That story is going to be that story. With its beginning, middle, and end, it's going to be that story. Out of all the stories, it has a right to exist. Because all infinite versions of you exist. So we don't want to fix that one. You can't fix any of them. But what you can do is no longer identify with it. Literally, and it's not about convincing anybody out there or anything out there about that. Not anything outside of you. Not anyone, not any power, nothing. Just about convincing you. You, within you, have to make that solid decision. I'm not that person anymore. I am not that person anymore. And from that point on, just know that your mind's going to be like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And it's so sneaky, too. Little things you'll notice throughout the day. Little things. It's like, oh, yeah, you still have that problem. You still have that back problem. You still have that back problem. You're still overweight. You know, the mirror says, yeah, you're not a hottie yet. You're not a hottie, you know. Or whatever, you know, I'm just choosing things out of the blue here, you know. You're not wealthy yet. I mean, look at the car you're driving. It's about ready to fall apart, you know. All these things are like, no, you're not that person. What are you talking about? It's pretty darn clear that you are not that person, you know. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, I don't want to fake it, you know. I don't want to get hurt, you know, by believing in things that aren't going to come true or that aren't already real and stuff. And it's not about faking it. It's not fake it till you make it. It's just literally about knowing what's going on here and who you are, and that's it. And that you have the innate ability within you to switch from one individual, one identity, to any identity you want. To be anybody you want to be. Now, when you understand, of course, that's why I always like to talk about, you know, many times about quantum physics, about how our senses actually really work, you know, because we're just assuming, yeah, they're informing me of a reality. No, they're not. Not one little bit. Your senses are not telling you about reality. They are telling you what you expect to see. Your senses are made to tell you what you expect to see, what you truly, deep down, what your dominant belief is. That's what your senses are going to tell you. This is how they're wired, no matter what's going on. That's why when you have, like they always say, like you have an accident and you got 20 people that watch it, you're going to get 20 completely different stories. And that's why. Because people will be like, of course that's what I saw. I was standing right there, you know. And this other person next to them is going to be like, that's totally not true. I was right next to you and I saw this. Well, because their senses were telling them, absolutely 100% believable to them, what they expected to see. What their life experiences, what they assumed was going to be there, all that backup that would end up creating that scenario for them of the way things are, the way reality is what they experienced. So we think that reality is just one thing. There's just one story. There's just one earth. There's just one thing going on here. And there's not. Every single one of us are in our own reality. You are in your own reality. Me? I'm just talking to myself. And you? You're looking at another aspect of you. One of infinite numbers of versions of you that exist here. Because you're none of them. You're none of them. And when you get that you aren't any of these identities, because who were you before you got here? Who are you then? Who do you think you're going to be when you leave this experience, when you refocus yourself somewhere else? Well, you're not going to be Bob or Sarah that grew up in, I don't know, Colorado or Florida or, you know, Bangladesh or, you know, England or wherever it is. You're not going to be that person anymore. You're going to be you, the real you. Well, wouldn't it be nice to know who that is now? So yes, you can go from one identity to another simply by deciding it and seeing yourself as it, really actually embodying that character. That's what Neville means by living in the end, right? By you're already there. You're already that person. You are already that person, but you have to already be that person. You can't wait for things to show up before you're like, oh, thank God. Am I that person? This thing is happening. Oh my gosh, am I really that person? No, you need to be that person first. But to know that you got that ability to decide it and have it freaking come true, well, what's better than that, right? Well, okay, I'll tell you what's better than that. What's better than that is knowing who you really are. That you are the one that can do things like that as the I am, right? As who you really are. Stepping back, because these are just identities. These are just little roles, little characters you can play here. But power behind it all is, well, where the power is, where the true power is always coming from there. So always keeping that in mind to, okay, I'm going to play a role, but knowing it's a role, making it simple, and knowing that you can put your foot down. And for most of us, you're not going to be having to put your foot down. You're damn right I am that person now. With the world outside of you, with others, it's going to really be just with yourself. But if you persist, the program has to change. The program must change. And this is what you find out. And this is the thing that most people never get to. They don't keep persisting. They don't keep going. Because if you don't give up, it has to. You're in a, okay, one of us has got to give up. And that one's like, no, you're this person, you're this person. It's like, no, you're this person, you're this person. It's going to go on and on and on. And you're just going to be like, no, 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 no. I'm that person, because you're going to be embodying it, feeling it, thinking about it. And if there is something that you can do, you know, like if you want to dress as it, you know, if you are, okay, what would that person be doing? Well, they'd be working out at the gym all the time, because that person's really fit, and all this stuff. Well, if you can start taking on any of those traits in a way in the physical world, if it's possible for you to start taking on any of those traits, you want to cut your hair or dye your hair or whatever it is, I'm being that person. I'm moving in, and you're deciding it, you're choosing that, and you're staying there, and you are persisting. That's going to get you there. Now, what is going to get you there faster? The whole point of living in the end is because you feel great. You feel great. You feel good. That's a nice place to be when you're really there. You're not the one that's still trying to be there, It feels good. So all those things people talk about, gratitude, feeling that wish fulfilled, feeling the happiness, feeling the love, feeling the bliss, whatever it is, they're all what? That open, relaxed, receiving mode. They put you in receiving mode. That's what living in the end and all those things are meant to do, by not only as identifying that as that individual that has what you want, but by not going back on it, and then being in the feel good. The better you feel, the longer you feel good, the faster things will happen. And in my experience, it never takes more than a couple of days. If I stay in the super happy mode, now I can't guarantee that for everybody, but that's my experience, and that's what I believe that Neville Goddard talked about. When done properly, a manifestation doesn't take more than 3 days. Now, my experience is when that happens is when I'm in the happy, when I am in just soaking in happiness, or I am just soaking in love. And a lot of times you can do that by imagining the person that you want to be in love with. Imagine that you are in love. Imagine that they're in love with you. And you're just living in that, even though you're doing your things. Oh, I have to type. Or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. There's part of you where you're just like, just as if you were really in love. What would that be like, right? Well, you'd be going around doing what you need to do all day long, but you'd be in that all day long, wouldn't you? And probably a lot of you can remember that happening to you. So, I'm just saying that happy works. Happy works. So if you decide, so we're going to like recap all this real quick. You decide who you want to be. And you are no longer that person. You are now this person. That's who you are. And if possible, you can begin to take on some of those traits. If that's something that's here, what would that person be doing? What would they be eating? What would they be dressing like? Whatever it is that can, if something can help you, why not? Why not? If it can help you be like, yeah, I am that person now. Why not? Why wouldn't you? I mean, you don't have to, but hey, why not? And then you don't go back. You don't go back. Every time it comes up, no, still this person. And then you add the happy to it. You add that feeling of whatever, just living in the end and you're happy, or being in love, or whatever it is. Anything that is just on that higher note, that is in the feel-good place, that is in the open, relaxed acceptance, gratitude, any of those is going to put you in that receiving mode. Then things are going to happen a lot longer, because the reason why I think that manifestation is so hard for so many people is because it takes so long, right? In the illusion of time here, it takes a long time, and people, we get in our way because we're like, okay, I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right. What did I do wrong? I got to figure it out. I got to watch more videos. I got to do something different. I got to do this. And we stop it because we get in the way because it takes too long. So for me, happy freaking works to speed things up. It works every time. In my experience. I know everyone's different, but when you really kind of break this stuff down, when you look at everybody's stuff, because it used to be, oh, you have to get in a feel-good place, and then your manifestation is going to happen. And a lot of people are like, well, I can't do it. So people started coming up with all this other stuff, like, okay, well then how else can we do it to try and figure it out? And yeah, sure, these other things can work, but are you going to last that long? Are you going to be able to keep it up that long? For a lot of people, they can't, because they don't believe that much in it yet. They don't believe in their true self, that they could just decide it and have it come true. Which, of course, like I said, it's just who you are, and people are finding out that, yeah, that's an innate ability that you have. But when you kind of get down to the nitty gritty and all this stuff, people are like, oh yeah, I did this, and then I decided, and then I chose, and I believed, and I blah, 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 blah. And then I was happy. And then I had gratitude. And then I felt relief. And that's what it did. That's what did it. Being that solid and being happy about it, being grateful about it, being open about it. You can get in the car, but unless you got fuel, you ain't going nowhere. So decide it, know it can happen. And yeah, it can absolutely happen just with that. You can just decide it and have it come true. Absolutely. But you want to do it fast? If you can, add a little happiness, add a little gratitude, add a little excitement, add feeling being in love, the feeling of being in love, any of that stuff, and you're going to make things, in my experience, happen a lot faster if you do. So give it a shot, give it a try. Let me know what happens. And I hope that helps you guys out. Just kind of, you know how I am usually with these things. I just kind of turn it on and I go. And I'm like, okay, there's all this information that's just been going round and round and round. And I tend to try and like write it all down and try and put it together. And then I start writing too much. And then I'm like, just press the button. Just press the button and go. So that's how it tends to kind of work best for me. So anyway, it is lovely to see you guys here once again. And thank you for your lovely comments as always. Thank you for being with me here on Rebuild Reality. And yeah, I'm going to see you guys here next time.